Can you believe we're on block 3 of the 2022 Designer Mystery Block of the Month? Hey, this is Carrie with Canary Quilts, and this is month 3, or block number 3, I guess, of the 2022 Designer Mystery Block of the Month. And this week, or this month, is by a designer named, I'm gonna say it wrong, but I'm gonna try, Stacy Iest Hsu. So when I'm putting this together, I'll show you the website so you can maybe look up her designs or see how her name is actually pronounced. But she did this beautiful block called Tides, and it only has 4 colors in it, and it is gorgeous. This was a fun block to put together. I'm going to show you how I do it. I do a lot of chain piecing, so I might do it a little differently than most people. And I also talk about a little bit about my cutting, because this background fabric is so hard to tell what the right side is. So I cut it a little differently so I could keep track of the right side of my background fabric. So I talk about that a little bit in this video, but let you know that I have one of the finishing blocks ready to go. I need to put it together, and so I'm going to be making a separate video for that. So hit the subscribe button, notification bell. That notification bell is important so you get notified when I do put one of those finishing blocks up. And you can subscribe to my newsletter also. You'll find out that way. If you're interested, I don't think this is open anymore. If it is, I will have a link below. If not, the pattern or the fabrics are called the Nantucket Summer Collection, and I do have a link to those below, and there's other quilt patterns that are made from these fabrics if you're interested. So check out my links below. It really does help the channel out to do that, but I want to let you know that I appreciate you. I appreciate you coming here to sew along with me, and yeah, let's get started on this block. All right, I can't believe that we are already on block 3 of the 2022 Designer Mystery Block of the Month. And look at that block, it's really cool looking. So this block was designed, and I'm probably not going to say her name right, Stacy Iest Hsu. There's the name, you can see it right there if you want to check out her website. She's the guest designer this month, and this is the block she has given us, and there's only 4 colors in it. So, and to get ready to cut this block, I just need a small ruler here because it's just rectangles and squares. I got my alphabetties to keep track of all my pieces, rotary cutter, and clips. So here's the fabrics that they sent. And it comes in this nice little package. They send you way more fabric than you will need. And look at these colors. Just, I love them. I never work with blues, so when I see it, I love it. So we got these little square, little rectangle. This looks like a fat quarter, possibly. And then is this a fat quarter? I think this is a fat quarter. Yeah. So we've got a fat quarter of the background, and I don't know that is that a fat quarter? Looks smaller than a fat quarter, but that's the light blue. That's the major part of this block. And the green is the center. And let's just open that up. So they sent you just a rectangle of the green and a square. It's like a layer cake square of the blue, which is the corners. So, gonna be gorgeous. I'm gonna get this, I'm gonna get all my pieces cut out. There's A through I, and like I said, they're just small rectangles and squares. So I'm gonna get all these pieces cut, and then we'll come right back here. So I wanted to stop after cutting this background fabric because if you're doing this quilt, you may find that it's hard to tell which side is the right side. So instead of cutting multiples at once, like cutting a big strip and then cutting it out, folding it, whatever, I cut one at a time. and I kept them, this is the right side up, I have the material right side up, and that's how I cut the material, and I kept it that way so that now I know that the side with the letter on it is the right side of the material, instead of, you know, trying to get it in the right light to make sure. So I just wanted to make note of that if you have trouble with this material also. There we go, I got my cuts done for month 3, and pretty easy. I stopped to tell you how I kept track of the right side of these, so I know that I'm looking at the right side right now. So we have the rectangle, large square, 2 small squares of the background, a small square, this dark blue, a large square of the light blue, and a rectangle of the light blue, and then 2 squares of the green. We've got 8 of each of these, 8 of these, 4 of these, 4 of these, 1 of H, and 8 of I. So we're all set to go. And I wanted to show you how much fabric's left. Like, it feels like I didn't even touch the fabric. So there's quite a bit of the fabric left. That's pretty fun and interesting. So the first thing we want to do to get started with this block is we want to take E, which is our dark blue square, and C, which is a background square. And I'm going to set these aside because we're just going to work with these. And I'm going to keep this right side up. We are literally going to take all of them and put them together. Right sides together, sew them 1/4 inch, and we're going to iron towards the blue. So that's what we're going to do with all our E's and our C's, and I'm going to chain piece these. Okay, I'm set up here at my machine. I've got my C and my E's right here, ready to go. I've got my C's face up so I know that they're that's the right side of my background. I've got my little chain piece cutter, and I've got my 1/4 inch foot in. I've got Orfill 50 weight in the top thread and bottom line thread in the bobbin. So I'm just going to put all of these together, right sides together. I'm going to chain piece these, and then we're going to iron them towards the dark blue. So now I have 8 of these 2 square units here. And like I said, we are going to iron towards the dark blue. Okay, I've got them all ironed towards the dark blue, and we are now going to make square units out of these by putting them together like this. And because we iron towards the dark blue, these seams will be opposite of each other and they will nest right there in that center, give us a beautiful point. So let's put these together at that center seam, and you can see how it will nest right there. And you can feel it. You can feel it when it locks into place. So we're going to end up with 4 of these. Get these ready to go. So the pattern doesn't tell you how to iron it once you get these sewn, and in looking ahead, it doesn't look like we're going to have any matching seams with the seam we're about to sew, so I'm going to try to iron it open when I get done. See how that goes. Okay, our squares are sewn together. Points look great, and they're in the middle, so I'm just going to iron these open. They don't, unless I'm missing it, but I don't see it. I don't see any arrows. I'm just going to have to either assume it's going to be ironed open or think that that's probably going to be the best way to iron it. Okay, there are our square units, our 4 square corner units. Points look beautiful because of those opposing seams and being able to nest them. And then I ironed the last seam open. So I'm going to set these aside and we are going to go on to the next portion, which is going to be taking F, which is the light blue large square, and B, which is one of the larger background squares. And we need to take our B and we need to mark a diagonal on the back of it. So I've flipped it over. This is going to help keep track of what side is what. Flipped it over. I'm going from the top corner to the diagonally to the bottom corner, and I'm going to draw a line. So I am going to get all 8 of mine done here. Okay, again I've got B, these are the B fabrics, the background, marked on the diagonal, and I have the F light blue squares, the larger squares. I'm going to take our F light blue, we're going to take our B, and we're going to just put it in the upper right hand corner. We're going to line those edges up, and we are going to sew right along that line that we just drew. And then we're going to come back, trim 1/4 inch from that seam, and then we are ironing towards the white. So I'm going to get these 4 done right now. Okay, it might be hard to see, but we have a seam right there on that line, and I use a friction pen so that line will disappear with heat. So I'm going to take my little ruler. I'm going to put a 1/4 inch mark right on my line. So you can see that 1/4 inch is right on the line, and you can see that it matches up also with my drawn line. And then we are just going to cut that corner off, 1/4 inch from that seam. We're ironing towards the corner. Pretty cool. Cut our square and we got it back. Okay, next thing we want to do is take our piece and put it down in the left hand side like that, and do the exact same thing where we sew along our line, trim 1/4 inch from our seam, and iron towards the white. So I'm going to finish these 4 out and we'll come back. Look at those beautiful squares. I love it. So we're actually going to take these and our corner squares and our A pieces, and we're going to make the 4 corners of our quilt. Okay, I got my unruly 4 patch here. I've got the squares I just made, and I have my A pieces. And we have 8 of these because this is how our corner is going to look. We're only going to have 4 corners, obviously, but let me face it towards you. Let's see. Okay, we've got the dark pointing towards the light blue. And then we're going to take our A, and this is how our corner is going to look. We got 2 A pieces here. our corner 4 patch, and then our little stripe here. So we're going to sew these two together, and we're going to iron towards the A, and we're going to sew these two together, and we're going to iron towards the A. So let's get that done. No seams to match here. Okay, we are now going to iron towards our A piece. And that way we'll have opposing seams again, and we can nest them. So now we can do this. These seams are opposite, so we can put them together and they'll nest together really nicely. So let's get this sewn together. And then we are actually going to iron towards the larger bottom piece of the corner here. So iron towards the light blue. And there's one of our corners, and oops, there you go. There's one of our corners. We'll repeat for the other 3. Okay, so for the other 3, I've just stacked the 3 pieces on top of each other in the position that they go in my block, so I can get all 3 of these done at the same time. And make sure that they're in the right position also. Got all 5 of our corners done here, so we can set those aside and start working on the interior of our block. Okay, next piece we need our G and D. And we are going to have to mark a diagonal on the wrong side of D. So I'm going to get that done. It's just going to be just like before. Okay, I've taken my D piece and I have marked a diagonal on all of my pieces on the wrong side. So what we're going to do with all 4 of these blue rectangles is we're going to take a D, put it in the left-hand corner, and we are going to sew along the drawn line and cut 1/4 inch from the seam and then iron towards the white corner. So what we want to do now is take the remainder of our squares with the diagonal lines. We're going to put it up here in the right corner so that our line cuts off part of the white over here and cuts off our right corner. So sew on the line, trim 1/4 inch from your seam, iron towards the white. Okay, we've got our background pieces onto our G and both ironed towards the corners. So now they're calling this the partial middle unit. Yes, partial middle unit is what they're calling this. You're going to need to grab your I piece. You're going to need to mark it on the diagonal on the back, and you'll need your partial middle unit. So what we're going to do is with our I, we're going to do the same thing. I'm going to put it up here in the corner and sew along the line, trim 1/4 inch, and iron towards the green fabric. So we're going to do that on all 4 of these. So now it is not a partial middle unit, it is a full middle unit. I do that to keep my fabrics pressed down while they cool. Okay, I think we are assembling our block. So let me get set up for that. Okay, to start assembling our blocks, you're going to need your corner unit and your middle unit. You're only going to need 2 of your middle units right now. So we're going to take our corner unit, and these go in the corner. And then these point down. And our white middle unit, the white goes at the top, the green goes towards the center. Doesn't look like there's any seams to match here. So we are going to sew these together and iron our seams open. So I will put these together. And that will make one end of our square, our block, sorry, I was thinking. So that's the top. Here's the bottom with our other unit. So we can do both of these at the same time. So we'll put these together. We will iron these seams open and then put the other corner unit on. Okay, got my seams done, and I want to iron these open. Okay, put these back. Nope, we want our green to go towards the middle. We want our blue to point towards the middle, like that. So we'll add these on 1/4 inch and iron those seams open also. Our 2 corner units are done. So now we are going to put together the middle units, which are pretty simple. Actually, units, it is not a unit. You're going to need your H piece. And you're going to hook these up just like that. And we're going to iron these open also. So pretty easy. Okay, we're ready to assemble our beautiful block. It's going to go together like this. We do have matching seams right here. These have been sewn open, so you're going to have to be really kind of mindful about how you match them. I'm going to assume they have us do it open for long arm quilting in the future, but I'm not sure. But anyway, those are the only seams you need to match. So flip it over, put your 2 seams together on those middle units, match them up, pin them, clip them, whatever you like to do to keep them together. Match up your edges. We're going to sew this 1/4 inch, and we are ironing this open also. So there you go. So it looks like my points turned out pretty good. I always worry when they're not nested, but yeah, they look really good. So we're going to put the other side on and our block will be done. Match those seams up. So 1/4 of an inch. Come back, iron it open, and our block will be done. Our block 3, month 3, and it's called Tides. That's a pretty name. That's a pretty name for a block. Yeah, my points got off. I am gonna rip that out and try it again. It's the only thing I don't like about when seams aren't nested. First one turned out great. Second one, not so much. So I'm gonna get this ripped out, put it in again. Okay, let's see how this. Yeah, it's a little off, but I can live with it. I can live with it. So I'm gonna get this ironed open. There we go, our finished block. I can't even tell where that's off anymore. Can you? Can you see where it's off? That is a beautiful block. Pretty simple, not too many colors, just turned out beautiful. So, it's pretty straightforward other than one of these seams, they didn't tell you how to iron. I think, it was these seams right here. So I ironed them open. Other than that, these blocks are all the same. Put these corners in, and yeah, it makes a beautiful block called Tides by Stacy Iest Hsu, if I say it right. I'm not sure. Correct me if you know. But anyway, there you go. I am gonna try to start working on the finishing kit. I've got it cut. These squares, I've got everything cut, but I've got these squares set out right here to put together. So I'm going to try to work on that. That will be a different video. So hit the subscribe button, notification bell. You'll get notified when I do that and all the other fun stuff I got going on here. So I had a blast making this block. I had a blast making this video, and I'll see you in the next one.